One of the biggest mistakes many people make is thinking that happiness is always in the future. People say, "When I get a better job, then I will be happy. When I buy a bigger house, then I will be happy. When I make more money, then life will finally feel good." But this way of thinking is very dangerous. Why? Because life is always now. If we always wait for the future to be happy, we may never enjoy the present moment. I remember a friend of mine who worked very hard. He kept telling himself, "When I save enough money, I will travel and enjoy life." But years passed, and he kept working, and working. He did save a lot of money, but his health became weak, and he lost energy. By the time he wanted to travel, it was not the same. This story shows us that happiness cannot be delayed forever. If we keep saying later, we may never enjoy now. That is why small moments are so important. Happiness often lives in small, ordinary things. The sound of birds in the morning, the first sip of tea or coffee, the smile of someone you love, or even the feeling of lying down after a long day. These are simple moments, but they are powerful. Money cannot buy them, and sometimes we forget how valuable they are. Let me give you another example. Once I was walking in the park, and I saw two children laughing loudly while chasing each other. They had no expensive toys, no phones, no gadgets, just laughter. In that moment, I realized that joy does not need big things. Joy can come from being free, being present, and being alive. Now, I want to talk about another word that connects with this idea. The word is presence. Presence means being fully here, in this moment, not thinking about the past, not worrying about the future. Many times, our body is in one place, but our mind is somewhere else. We are eating, but our mind is at work. We are walking, but our mind is on problems. This takes away our happiness. Real happiness often comes from presence. If you drink tea, really drink it. If you talk to a friend, really listen. If you walk outside, notice the trees, the sky, the wind. These simple acts of presence can bring more joy than any expensive thing. And that brings us to another lesson. Clutter. Clutter means too much stuff, not just in your house, but also in your mind. Many people buy too many things, and their homes become full, but their hearts feel empty. Less clutter means more clarity. If we remove extra things, if we make life simple, then we can see what is truly important. I knew a woman who used to collect many clothes, shoes, and bags. Her house was full of things, but she was never satisfied. Later, she decided to give away many items to people in need. After that, she told me, "I feel lighter. I feel more free." That is the magic of reducing clutter. You don't just clean your house, you clean your mind. Now let's return to the big question. What is true wealth? Many people think wealth means money in the bank. But real wealth is different. Real wealth is health, peace, love, time, and relationships. You can be the richest person in the world, but if you are sick, lonely, or stressed, you will not enjoy your money. But if you are healthy, if you have good relationships, if you sleep peacefully, that is real wealth. There is also another beautiful part of wealth: giving. We spoke about it in part 1, but I want to go deeper here. Giving is not losing. Giving is multiplying. When you give to someone, you don't become poor. In fact, you become richer in heart. Science also shows that people who help others often feel more happiness and live longer lives. I once saw a simple act that touched me deeply. A poor man who had very little money bought bread for a hungry child. He could have kept that money for himself, but he chose to share. The child smiled, and the man smiled too. That moment was priceless. Money was spent, but happiness was created. And happiness is more valuable than money. So maybe the real question we must ask ourselves is not, how can I earn more money? But how can I live in a way that gives me peace, joy, and meaning? Now let us talk about burnout. Burnout happens when we work too much, when we never rest, when we push ourselves beyond our limits. Many people think working nonstop will bring success, but it often brings stress, sickness, and unhappiness. I myself have faced burnout. I kept saying yes to everything until my body and mind became tired. It was a hard lesson, but it taught me something important. Life is not a race. Rest is also success. When we rest, when we take care of our health, when we say no sometimes, we actually gain more energy to do good work. And this makes us happier. So money is important, but if we destroy our health while chasing it, we are not really winning. Now let's connect this with time again. Time is more valuable than money because once it goes, it never returns. Think about your happiest memories. Were they moments when you were buying things? Or were they moments when you were with people you love, sharing laughter, talking, or simply sitting together? Most people will agree the happiest memories come from connection, not from shopping. I remember one evening with my family. We had simple food, just bread and tea. But we sat together, told stories, and laughed until our stomachs hurt. That moment was one of the happiest in my life, and it cost almost nothing. This shows us again, happiness is not about price. It is about presence. Now, I want to ask you a gentle question. When was the last time you slowed down? When was the last time you sat without your phone? Without noise, and just enjoyed the moment? If you cannot remember, maybe it is time to make space in your life for stillness. Stillness is powerful. It helps you see clearly. It helps you feel deeply. And it helps you connect with what truly matters. The truth is, life is short. No one knows how many years we have. At the end of our lives, we will not remember how many clothes we bought or how many cars we drove. We will remember the laughter, the hugs, the sunsets, the people who loved us, and the people we loved. That is true happiness. We were talking about money, time, and happiness, and how sometimes we spend so much of our life chasing money that we forget to ask ourselves if this is really making us happy. And that thought leads to another truth that many people forget. Many people believe happiness will come one day in the future. They say things like, when I earn more, I will finally feel free. Or when I buy that house, then life will be complete. Or when I get that job, then I will enjoy my days. But the problem is, life does not wait for us. Time keeps moving. If we always wait for tomorrow to be happy, then we may never feel joy today. Remember one friend who kept working harder and harder, telling himself he would enjoy life later. He said, when I save enough money, I will travel. When I have more savings, I will spend time with my family. But later never came. By the time he had enough money, his health was not the same. His body was tired, his energy was gone, and the things he dreamed about were no longer possible. That story shows us something important. Happiness cannot always be delayed. We must find happiness in today, not just in tomorrow. And this is why the small things in life are so powerful. The truth is, happiness is often hidden in the ordinary moments. The sound of birds in the morning, the smell of fresh bread, the first sip of tea, the hug of a child, or even the feeling of lying down after a long day. These moments look small, but in reality, they are very big. Money can buy many things, but it cannot buy the feeling of true presence. Let me give you an example. One day, I was sitting in the park, and I saw two children laughing loudly while running after each other. They had no expensive toys, no new clothes, no gadgets, just laughter. And in that moment, I thought, this is real joy. Joy does not need a price tag. Joy comes from being alive, being together, and being free in the present moment. This word, present, is very important. Presence means to be fully here, right now, not lost in yesterday, not worried about tomorrow. Many times, our bodies are here, but our minds are far away. We eat food, but we are thinking about work. We talk to our family, but we are checking our phones. We walk outside, but our mind is full of worries. And when our mind is not present, happiness runs away. True happiness is when we are present. If you are drinking tea, feel the tea. If you are walking, notice the trees, the sky, the birds. If you are listening to a friend, really listen with your whole heart. These simple acts of being present can bring more peace than the biggest salary. And now let's connect this idea with something else. Clutter. Clutter is when you have too much stuff, not only in your house, but also in your mind. Many people think happiness will come from buying more things. So they buy and buy until their homes are full. But instead of feeling happy, they feel stressed. Too many things bring too many worries. Less clutter brings more clarity. When life is simple, it becomes easier to see what truly matters. I knew a woman who had closets full of clothes, shoes, and bags. She always wanted more. But no matter how much she bought, she never felt satisfied. One day, she decided to give away many of her things to people who needed them. After that, she told me, "I feel lighter. I feel free." That is the secret of less clutter. When we let go of things, we also let go of stress. So the real question is this: what is wealth? Many people think wealth means a big bank account. But real wealth is different. Real wealth is good health, peaceful sleep, loving relationships, time to enjoy, and a mind that is calm. You can be rich in money but poor in spirit. And you can be simple in money but rich in love and peace. Which one is better? Another part of real wealth is giving. Giving is not about losing. It is about gaining something deeper. When you give, you may lose money, but you gain joy. And joy is more powerful than money. Even science says that people who help others often feel happier and live longer. I once saw something that touched me deeply. A poor man who had very little bought bread for a hungry child. He could have kept the money for himself, but instead, he chose to share. The child smiled, and the man smiled too. In that moment, both became richer. Not in money, but in happiness. That is the magic of giving. And this also connects to another problem we face: burnout. Burnout is what happens when we work too hard for too long without rest. Many people believe that if they keep working, they will finally be successful and happy. But what actually happens is the opposite. They get tired, they lose energy, and they even lose their health. I know this from my own life. I once said yes to everything, to every project, every opportunity, until one day my body and my mind became completely tired. That is burnout. And it taught me an important lesson. Success is not only about doing more. Success is also about knowing when to stop and rest. Rest is not laziness. Rest is fuel. When we rest, when we take care of our health, when we slow down, we gain new energy. And that energy makes us more creative, more productive, and more alive. So remember this: money is important, but health is more important. Now let's return again to the idea of time. Time is the most valuable treasure we have. Money can always come and go, but time only goes. Once it is gone, it never comes back. Think about your happiest memories. Were they times when you were buying something expensive? Or were they times when you were sitting with your family, laughing with your friends, or watching a sunset? Most people will agree. The happiest memories are about connection, not about shopping. I remember one evening with my family. We had very simple food, just bread and tea. But we sat together, we told stories, and we laughed until our stomachs hurt. That evening cost almost nothing, but it was priceless. It became one of my happiest memories. And this shows us again that happiness does not come from price. It comes from presence. So I want to ask you a gentle question. Right now, when was the last time you slowed down? When was the last time you just sat without your phone, without rushing, and enjoyed the moment? If you cannot remember, maybe it is time to create that space. Stillness is not empty. Stillness is full of peace, full of meaning. It helps us see what is important and let go of what is not. Life is short, my friends. Nobody knows how many days or years we have. So instead of always chasing money, why not also chase peace, love, and kindness? At the end of our lives, we will not remember how many gadgets we bought or how many cars we drove. We will remember the hugs, the laughter, the people we loved, and the people who loved us. And that is true happiness. When we think about happiness, many of us imagine something big. We imagine winning the lottery, buying a dream house, or traveling around the world. But the truth is, happiness is often not something big. It is something small. And when we learn to see it, our whole life changes. Sometimes we forget this because the world around us tells us the opposite. Advertisements, social media, and even society keeps saying, buy more, have more, show more. Everywhere we look, there is a message that more is better. More money, more clothes, more likes, more followers. But does more always mean better? No. In fact, sometimes more creates less happiness. When life becomes too full, joy becomes buried under pressure. So maybe the wiser question is not, how can I get more? But what is enough for me? Enough is a very gentle and beautiful word. Enough means you have what you need. Not too little, not too much. Enough brings peace. When we realize we already have enough, we stop running. We stop comparing ourselves to others. We stop feeling behind. Instead, we feel grateful. And gratitude is one of the most powerful keys to happiness. Gratitude means saying thank you, not just with words, but with the heart. Thank you for the food on the table. Thank you for the roof above my head. Thank you for the people who care about me. Thank you even for the challenges, because they make me stronger. A grateful heart finds joy in every season, rich or poor. I once kept a small notebook, and every night before sleeping, I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for. Sometimes it was something big, like a friend helping me in a hard time. Other times it was something small, like the taste of warm soup. But after weeks of writing, I noticed something. My mind changed. Instead of always seeing what was missing, I began to see what was already here. And that gave me peace. Now, let's connect this with another idea. Value. Many people measure their value by money. They think, if I earn a lot, I am important. If I earn little, I am not important. But this is not true. Your value is not your paycheck. Your value is not your bank account. Your value is who you are, how you live, and how you treat others. A kind person with little money can be worth more than a selfish person with millions. I remember a man in my neighborhood. He worked as a cleaner. His job was not glamorous, and his income was not high. But he was always kind. He greeted everyone. He helped children cross the road, and he even fed stray dogs. People loved him. When he passed away, the whole community came to honor him. That showed me something important. Money fades, but kindness remains. This brings me to one more lesson, sharing. When we share, we not only help others, but also remind ourselves that we are part of something bigger. A community, a family, humanity itself. Sharing can be as simple as giving your time, listening to someone who is sad, or offering encouragement. These things cost nothing, but they bring happiness to both the giver and the receiver. I once saw a young boy give his sandwich to another boy who had no lunch. The hungry boy ate with joy, and the boy who gave the sandwich smiled even more. That is the power of sharing. You don't become less by giving. You actually become more. So what do we do with all of these lessons? How do we live a life where money and happiness are balanced? Here are a few simple but powerful steps. First, use money for needs, not just for wants. Food, shelter, health, and safety are needs. After that, ask yourself if more is really necessary. Second, spend time wisely. Time is your true treasure. Spend it on people you love, on things that make you grow, on experiences that bring you peace. Don't waste all your time chasing money, because money can return, but time never will. Third, practice gratitude. Start noticing what you already have. Write it down if you can. Gratitude changes your vision. It makes your heart see blessings even in ordinary days. Fourth, avoid clutter. Don't fill your life with too many things. Simple living brings clearer thinking and deeper joy. Fifth, give and share. Even small acts of kindness can create big happiness. You don't need to be rich to give. You just need a kind heart. And finally, rest. Don't let burnout steal your joy. Rest is not wasting time. Rest is protecting your energy so you can live fully. If you follow these steps, you will see something amazing. You will discover that money is important, yes, but it is not everything. Money can buy a bed, but not peaceful sleep. Money can buy food, but not the taste of love at the dinner table. Money can buy medicine, but not perfect health. Money can buy entertainment, but not true joy. Happiness is not something outside you. It is something inside you. It is in your choices, in your gratitude, in your presence, in your love. So as we end today's reflection, I want to leave you with one gentle thought. Happiness is not far away. It is not waiting for you in the future. It is not hiding in the next paycheck or the next purchase. It is already here, in small things, in quiet moments, in your heart. You don't have to chase it. You just have to notice it. Take time today to pause, to breathe, to look around. Maybe your happiness is already sitting next to you. Maybe it is in the smile of someone you love. Maybe it is in the simple act of being alive. Hold on to that and remember, money can support your life, but happiness makes your life beautiful.